Haunted by echoes of a past faith, Sarah suffocates under crippling guilt. Leaving her religious upbringing meant severing ties, but the judgment still clings. Can she silence the voices that call her a disappointment? Watch as Sarah discovers solace in the most unexpected place, learning a gentle truth that tending to herself is the most sacred act of all. Sarah's small apartment felt like a cage, its silent walls amplifying the echoes of voices she desperately wanted to silence. Each night, anxiety hummed in her chest, a constant reminder of the guilt she carried from leaving her strict religious upbringing. "They say you're a disappointment," the voices whispered. "You've lost your way." Clenching her hands, Sarah tried to bury the weight of guilt that came with every moment of fleeting happiness. Joy felt like a sin since leaving the religion she grew up with. Her parents' voices echoed in her mind, their prayers like heavy chains weighing down her heart. Avoiding their calls became her routine. It was too painful to hear the accusation beneath their concern. She isolated herself, fearing each conversation would push her deeper into the pit of guilt, a place she knew all too well. One morning, desperate to break the cycle, Sarah forced herself out of the apartment. The world outside was bright, full of sounds she hadn't noticed in months. Birds chirping, children laughing, and the distant hum of city life. She found herself at the community garden, a place she'd heard about from a flyer at the library. The garden was alive with colour-vibrant flowers, towering sunflowers, rows of ripe tomatoes. It was noisy and bustling, yet filled with a peaceful energy. Sarah signed up to volunteer, unsure, but needing something different. There she met Maya, a woman in her 70s with dirt-stained hands and a calm, knowing smile. Maya asked no questions about beliefs. She didn't speak of God or judgment. Instead, she talked softly about the plants, about the delicate balance of sun and rain, about the tomatoes that sometimes burst with sweetness and sometimes shriveled in the heat. "Plants don't judge," Maya said once, handing Sarah a trowel. "They just grow the best they can, no matter what." Slowly, Sarah found comfort in this quiet wisdom. The garden became a sanctuary, where the loud, punishing voices inside her began to soften. She still heard them, the echoes of sermons, the prayers from her mother's tearful voicemail pleading for her to come back to the light. That message hit her like a physical blow, sending her anxiety soaring. Her fingers trembled as she stared at her phone, nearly calling back to recant everything, just to stop the pain. But then she remembered Maya and the garden. She slipped on her gloves and walked outside, into the sunlight that felt warm and forgiving on her skin. She found Maya tending to a patch of herbs, their green leaves wilting under the afternoon heat. "Sometimes," Maya said without looking up, "they just need less fussing and more sun." The simple truth in Maya's words was a balm to Sarah's bruised soul. For so long, she had been judging herself harshly, fussing over her every thought and feeling, watering her fears like weeds growing wild in her mind. She'd let guilt consume her. That day, Sarah spent hours in silence, pulling out weeds, turning soil, letting the sun kiss her back. She didn't pray or confess, but the act of nurturing life felt more sacred than any sermon she'd ever heard. Each gentle touch to a leaf, each breath of fresh air, was a quiet rebellion against the guilt that had tried to bind her. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah understood something profound. Her guilt hadn't vanished, but its power over her had diminished. She had found her own way to tend the light within herself, patiently, gently, with acceptance rather than judgment. And in that acceptance, she began to heal. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah continued to volunteer at the garden. She learned about the different types of plants, how to nurture them, and the importance of patience. She and Maya developed a close friendship, sharing stories and laughter as they worked side by side. One day, Sarah received a call from her mother. This time, there was no accusation in her voice, only love and concern. They talked for hours, sharing their lives and experiences. Sarah realized that her mother only wanted her to be happy and healthy. Sarah started visiting her parents more often, and they began to understand and accept her choices. She learned that love and acceptance were more powerful than guilt and judgment. Sarah continued to tend to the light within herself, nurturing her mind, body, and soul. She found joy in simple things like spending time with friends, reading books, and exploring new places. She realized that true happiness comes from within, from accepting and loving oneself. And so Sarah continued to live her life with love, acceptance, and gratitude, forever tending to the light within.